Hi, welcome to my channel, Reader Woman. My name's Judy, and let's talk James Joyce's Ulysses. I splurged and got the 100th anniversary edition of Ulysses, and we will look at that shortly. But it just made me realize it's been 100 years. I don't know about you. Have you read it? Have you not? Please let me know. It was one of the big things that I read in high school with my independent studies. And I was just, I have been kind of gifted my whole life. I mean, my parents didn't care what I read. They just didn't put any kind of time frame or anything like that, or not time frame, but limitations. You have to be this old before you can read this kind of book. They never did that. And then when I had my independent studies in high school, Miss Smith, she just, let me read. Which I have to say, in hindsight, I should have been doing some reports as well. But I have nobody's hand to slap but my own for not doing those. I just continued reading. How did I decide to read James Joyce? I don't know. It's really odd. I've been trying to think about it, and I really can't really connect the dots as to what led me to read him. I'm sure I came across some sort of acknowledgement of his name or something, but I remember when I proposed reading Ulysses that Miss Smith told me, you do not start with Ulysses. You do not even start with A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man. You go back to the Dubliners, and that's where you start. And so, I read the Dubliners and then A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man. And I always loved those books, actually. But then coming to Ulysses, it was a very different experience, obviously. I've always been drawn to that period in time. There was something in the air after World War I that struck artists all over with an impetus to create something new. Whatever you think of Ulysses, it's still a major publishing feat. And I have to say, I thought by the time I would get to my age, I would have my own copy of one of the original printings. But I don't. So my 100th anniversary edition will be it. On the subject of books I don't have, I remember when I was in high school, somewhere between probably sophomore to senior year, it's the one book, or I think it was a 3-book set that I didn't buy, and I've always regretted it. Excuse me. I saw a copy at a library one time. I came across it, and it's the edition of Ulysses whereby Joyce, as his writing aid, he would color code what lines went with which character, and so he would have those color lines, and they imprinted that in a time when color printing was not very accessible. And but I remember it was like $100 back 100 years ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was a teenager. I didn't have that much money, so I was not able to get a set. But yeah, I've always regretted that I didn't though. So I'm very happy to have my new edition, which once again, we will get to. I came across this wonderful article in the Paris Review. My Custer, she had sent it to me via Facebook, and it's an article from June 14th, 2018, obviously published in honor of the upcoming Bloomsday celebrations, and it's by Frankie Thomas. And she was in this article, and I will leave a link in the down below, so you can read the whole article if you want to. I found it very interesting. She was in CUNY, gosh, what's that called? City College of New York, and she was there. I think it was 2015, so not that long ago. And as an undergraduate, she came across a listing for to read Ulysses, a seminar on reading Ulysses, and I just thought it was really super humorous about why she chose to take it. So reading from her article, it was in this context that the English department decided to offer its first ever Ulysses seminar. Though they offered it as you might offer someone a home-cooked meal that you're secretly pretty sure contains broken glass. In B, this is a highly demanding course with a heavy reading load, the course catalog warned in bold italics. More like a graduate seminar than a 400-level college class. I don't think it actually said, don't take this class, but that was the obvious implication. But the department hadn't counted on the sheer belligerence of City College students. I took one look at that warning and immediately decided, thanks to the same knee-jerk rebelliousness that had led me to avoid college until the age of 27, that I had to take this class. I wasn't the only one. There were 30 students in the Ulysses seminar. This is what passes for a small discussion class at City College. So she goes on to explain, I mean, I have to say their professor was amazing. He starts out giving them all, the title of Joyceans. They play games with it. They have intense discussions about the work that they're expected to read before coming into the class. And at the end, he gives each one of them a certificate saying that they have read Ulysses, which gives them the right to discuss it forever in the future. The story was great. And she even mentioned that there are students that in that class that she still keeps in contact with. I can't say that I had the same experience at all. This is my first edition of Ulysses that I purchased, and it's falling apart, but I love it. And it has all my notes from all the times that it's just bedraggled. I have tape along the edge to try and keep it together, but as I noticed, the pages are falling out. Ugh, so sad, so sad. See? But I will never get rid of it, ever. So the first time I read it was in high school by myself. And then I would talk to my teacher. She always encouraged me to look up the words that I did not understand. And that got a little frustrating with time, I have to say, simply because not all the words were there. I mean, Joyce combines words and just creates his own lexicon. So anyways, yeah, I definitely loved the book. And it did somehow make me feel special. The next time I encountered it, I was in college for my first time, and they had a seminar. We didn't actually read the whole thing. We more read excerpts, and it was good. I know I enjoyed it, but it was a tough time for me. My mom died the beginning of my junior year, and so of college, and I didn't graduate, and there was a reason. And but I remember getting to relook at this and really enjoying it. Then my last time, which is a heck of a long time ago, at Fairhaven College, we had a seminar, and there was very few people in it, maybe 10 of us, if that. And what was really special about that course was we would sit and read excerpts aloud to each other during class. And I remember the last class we had, I brought a bottle of John Jameson's Irish whiskey, and I got to read from Molly's section. And I remember my professor going, yeah, you wouldn't be doing this in a large college. That we were lucky, because it was part of the reason why it was banned to begin with, because it was a little pornographic. But yeah, those are my memories, and all of it is, of course, condensed into this book. Going through my Joyce collection, I do have a second edition, which is basically the same text, but it's a modern library edition, which is very nice. You know, everything's nice about it, but I don't know. It just kind of lacks a little bit, if you ask me. But I'm glad to have a second version, because if I do end up rereading it, I would definitely have to be going with this, because my other one's just falling apart too much. So then I saw this beauty. Let me tell you, it's huge. It is huge. It is heavy. And it is $75. But it's also kind of extraordinary too. And I haven't opened it. It still has the plastic on it. And I'm not completely familiar with the artist, but it's my understanding the artist spent 18, 20 years coming up with the artwork, and he's dead now. Let's see here. Other is the publisher. I'm not familiar with them. And I just was very excited to see something honoring what I consider to be a very important part of history. Because, you know, you have to say one thing about Ulysses. It has stood the test of time. I mean, you know, it's crazy in some ways. Oh my gosh. Now, I have to go back to my class in, that I took at Fairhaven College. That was the last time I read Ulysses. And for my final, I did an art piece. And I will hopefully insert it here, because I'd like to share it. It won't look great, but what I had done is had taken a famous image of him with a hat as a young man, and I had filled in the blocks of his clothing, his face, and this hat with text taken from various parts of the novel, and had added it in with typesetting. And I'd called it a portrait of the artist as a man of letters. And I have to say, there's something about Joyce that creates visual. Hi, this is future Judy. I was trying to find what I always considered to be my best piece of graphic artwork, and I was horrified to discover I no longer have it. I am actually very upset. The closest I can come to show you what I created came from my old copy of Ulysses, and yeah, very, very upset. And then you really can't see what I'm doing or what I was trying to do. I was using this image of Joyce, and then I'd put a grid over it. And then what I was starting to do was with tabbing in different fonts, I was creating, that's the top of the hat and his skin, and then the air around. So the air represented Stephen Dedalus. The hat and clothing represented Leopold Bloom, and then the skin was Molly Bloom. And I had picked quotes for each of them. So I think I'm just horrified. Absolutely horrified. Anyways, nothing to show you outside of not much images. I have a beautiful book, and let's see if we can see that. Is that amazing? You look at it and you just go, oh my gosh. And thinking about it, he always did give me a, oh my, sorry, a creative edge. And this is how it starts. Stately plump Buck Mulligan. And he was shaving. Oh my gosh. This is going to be an adventure, and the art is everywhere. I'll tell you, I'm a little concerned about the book because it is so heavy, which I understand. I'm a printer, and coated paper, it's printed on coated paper, so it's, oh wow, look at that. I mean, you can still see that that's James Joyce. So I'm very excited about the book. It looks like it's going to be an amazing journey, and I think it's going to encourage me to try rereading it. I'm not sure how physically, because I'm going to have to do it at like a desk or something. I don't know. I mean, it's not a book you hold very easily. Okay, so this is this book size, and this is this book size. So it's like over double. Yeah, I mean, it's literally huge. But I am excited, and I'm very happy to have this 100th anniversary edition of James Joyce's Ulysses. Very proud of it, and we'll see how far I go. But all I can say, just looking at the artwork, it's going to be an amazing journey. I mean, the artist, and who is the artist? Let's see here. Oh, Eduardo Arroyo, the neo-figurative artist, born 1937 and died in 2018. He, regarded today as one of the greatest Spanish painters of his generation, dreamed of illustrating James Joyce's Ulysses. Although he began work on the project in '89, it was never published during his lifetime due to copyright restrictions. Oh, And in the last few moments of this video, let's see here. Yeah, other press out of New York. I remember in high school, my teacher, Miss Smith, telling me, if you go into academics and you want to publish something, you'd be better off finding a niche with James Joyce. There's just been too much written about Shakespeare to make a name. Now, no, I never did make a name for myself with James Joyce. But I remember, and if I think about it, I'll look it up, an article in the New Yorker, I think it was in the 90s, because with copyright, it changed somewhere because Disney didn't want to lose the rights to Mickey Mouse. And so it went to, is it 87 years or something like that before works become public property. And so I was reading about Joyce's grandson and how it was he felt like it was his mission in life to destroy as much of James Joyce's letters, private correspondence as possible, and to keep off any kind of academics from looking at these things that had been saved by Joyce himself in order to, you don't want to just come out with everything while people are still alive. But it really bothered me that a grandson was going to make those decisions. And obviously about a grandfather, he had very little respect for. Joyce isn't a good guy in anybody's vocabulary, but as an artist, I think you have to let time determine the importance. So anyways, I'm excited, and I'm glad to really see this kind of thing being published. I just got cut off. So I hope you might get inspired to read a little Joyce. And I know I'm going to be doing some serious, if not reading, at least journeying throughout the book, because the artwork is tremendous. So anyways, let me know if you have any kind of history with James Joyce yourself. And yeah, I look forward to hearing from you, and we will talk books and other things very soon. Thank you. Keep reading. Bye.